Well, good morning. Here we are back at Cooter's Garage. Gonna do some more work on Recon 1. Started the day nice and easy with, let's see if we can get a view at that. You can see those bolts and those big washers. Those are coil spring retainers. Pretty simple, a huge washer, a long bolt that goes through the perch on top of the axle tube. And then I got a special wrench that goes in here and it holds the nut. So just put the passenger and driver coil spring retainer on. So that's step one. Looking at the front of the Jeep. We got the sway bar end links holding the axle up, and we got the shocks. We got to disconnect the shocks. These sway bar end links are coming out. I may take these off here momentarily and just get these. These are going to brother Chris. Chris runs the Steinjager quick disconnects. We're going to replace those. The Steinjager quick disconnects for a sport didn't really work out that well. They're very noisy, so we're going to take these off. These will go to Chris. What we're going to do is, so Mike put his table underneath the front axle. The shocks have been disconnected as well as the sway bar end links. Now we just want as much droop as we can to put the rock crawler 3.5-inch front coils in. What Mike is doing is he's like, look, let's just kind of, if we have to, we'll take the freaking tie rod off. We'll take the drag link off, and then that'll give us more room to put the spring right here and kind of line it up over this bump stop and this bump stop extension. So we're cooking now. We're cooking with fuel, right, Cooter?
That's it, man.
All right, brother. Got it going. All right, if you look at the rock crawler coil spring, what we're noticing is the spring doesn't exactly fit over the TerraFlex extension. So Mike is just removing just a little bit of metal on the top of the spring. Obviously, once we get past that first coil, the spring will go way up in and seat where it needs to sit. So that's what we're working on right now.
With that bump stop extension.
All right, I want to take note here. So what we did is there was some TerraFlex lettering. We took a flap wheel, we hit it with oil, and then we used the pry bar. Because what happens is the very first coil right here has such a tight diameter, it has conflict with the extension piece. So a little bit of oil, a little bit of grinding, and a little bit of a pry bar, and we were able to get that first coil over this extension piece. And now you can see that the coil spring is in position. And if I look right there, see the detent? That's where that spring is supposed to sit. And then obviously, as you know, see that hole through the perch? I've got coil spring retainers that bolt through there. They jam through there, and they just hold the axle side of the coil spring onto the axle. So there's no way at full droop it could come out. Although I doubt, these are so long, I doubt these would have a chance of coming out, quite honestly. But we're pretty happy with that, so we're going to move over to the other side. You can see here, if you look right here, you can see the metal that's been removed right there. Obviously,
that's what it looked like, trying to break that sharp corner.
He's trying to break that sharp edge right there. We did get, if you look, you can see the passenger side is sitting here. So the real trick is getting this first coil spring over the extension, which we just did on the passenger side. So we're on the driver's side right now. The plan is to take the rear sway bar end links and move them to the front, assuming they're going to fill the gap. You can see it. You can see it right here and right here. And then we have brand new JKS sway bar end link extensions, and we'll cut those and we'll size those up accordingly. So anyway, we're moving ahead. Things are going pretty well. Okay, just taking a moment to show you the front passenger coil spring retainer. So it's a piece of metal that mounts to the perch. There's a 3/8/16 bolts that goes through, and then that piece of metal goes through and it catches on the coil spring and it holds it in place. That one's all set. I'm going to go install the driver's side right now. All right, you can see Cooter working on the driver's side brake line right there. He's just trying to get the alignment perfectly with what we need. Then we'll probably take some tie wrap. See these little spacers here? Don't forget there were plugs. We'll end up tie wrapping the ABS sensor to the brake line. Just an update here. Colin has joined us. So you can see the locker plug is plugged in right there. Over on the back side is the plunger switch. That's plugged in, but that harness was really tight at full droop. So we had to, up inside here, we had to remove a Christmas tree plug just to get like 1 more inch of slack to plug that in. Now, again, we are at full droop right now. I mean, this is as far as the front axle can hang down with the, you know, with the shocks hooked up. Obviously, the sway bar is still hooked up. You can see in here that Mike has secured and tightened up the front drive shaft to the pinion flange. That's all set. The calipers are on. The brake lines are on. You'll notice that the ABS sensors are just tie wrapped along the brake line. You'll notice the clips are in here. These have been joined and clipped. And you'll also notice that these brake lines and the ABS sensors go in between the shock shaft and the spring and the perch. So you can see it right there on both sides. So,
It actually freed up a little bit more.
oh, did it free up some more?
Yeah, you got a little bit.
Good job, Colin. So you know, we're getting close to where we're going to put tires on this thing and put a little weight on it. You can see we got to adjust this track bar, get this back up in and adjust it. You know, we're almost to the point where a lot of the bull work is done. And then we're going to have to take some measurements and make adjustments on the front and rear track bar, as well as the drag link. And don't forget, we also need to use my flash cal and plug into the OBD into the computer and tell the computer that we're running 513 gears. All right, get ready to press again. Nothing yet, no liquid. You're all the way to the floor? All right, hold on, let me tighten her up. Rear brake lines, the fronts, okay, let it up. All right, just got a little bit, okay, finally. Nice, I got good fluid, all right, I'm tightening it. Nice, nice, good fluid. Let me tighten it. The fluid, and then I'll go over to the driver's side. All right, so the tires are going on. I'm running the rear 3.5-inch rock crawler coil springs with the 1-inch Terraflex spacers on top of the coil springs. So kind of interesting to take a peek at her and see how she looks right now. Definitely sitting tall for sure. So we'll keep going, we're working, we're moving forward, and we'll make some more adjustments. Great day today. You can see that the flash cal is establishing communication. Here we got engine idle, tire size, gear ratio. 513. Gear size modified. Put the vehicle on the ground. We got a tiny slope downwards, 3 to 6 degrees. Took a measurement, and the measurement was 13 inches. So then we subtracted 2 1/4, and then at the end of the day, we want to put these end links on and have 13 inches from center to center. So we had to take 1 inch off of each end. So I marked 1 inch, I put them in the vise, we cut them, we deburred them. Now we'll put some Loctite on these, and at the end of the day, we want these things set at 13 inches from center to center for the rear sway bar end links. Okay, if you look right here, we're looking at our JKS rear sway bar end links. The dimension I needed was 13 inches, so we subtracted for the length of the actual joint, took 1 inch off of the rod on each side, used some blue Loctite, tightened up the set screws, the jam nuts, and then installed the sway bar end links in the rear. The brakes were bled. The battery was dead, so we got some jumper. We got actually a battery charger hooking up to the battery. Okay, you can see we have our TMR custom toe plates installed, and basically we're checking our toe.
I'm hooked on the end.
Obviously for JK, you want 1/16 to 1/8 of an inch inboard, pigeon-toed. And we're just checking that out right now because something didn't look right. 5/16 on the front.
72 1/4. Are you measuring at the outside?
I'm measuring to the outside, yeah.
72 1/4. I'm hooked on the outside.
72 1/4.
70, that's what, Colin was right. It was towed out.
Okay, we had to make some adjustments on the lift for our toe in. Proved a little challenging. We're pretty happy with it. Definitely an improvement. We snugged up the front tires. They need to be torqued. We're charging up the battery. We're hoping to turn this vehicle over soon.
Oh yeah, Kyle, you're good.
And that's really pretty much it for tonight. That's going to be it. But you can see that Recon 1 started. The battery needed a charge. Now we got it running. You know, she's sitting on the ground. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. She slopes downward a little. I got to decide if I'm going to live with that or if I'm going to remove those 1-inch spacers. But, you know, we've got a lot to test out. We know the steering wheel is off. We'll have it to adjust the drag link. We did the toe in. We're happy with that.
She's a runner.
That's right. You guessed it. Tim ain't messing around. Tim, come over to Cooter's Garage, stopping by, checking out on us. And look what he's driving. He's running the old TJ. I was talking to him on the phone. This thing was so loud I could barely hear him. Growler's new dash. Look at this thing. This will end up going in the Growler. Come over here. So you can see that he has quite an undertaking right here. So there'll be a whole brand new dash. This right here is a new adjustable steering column that he bought. This will go in over there once he removes some of that metal, and the steering will come through here and he can adjust it. Massive amounts of wiring that's going to have to be sorted out and rewired. So he's got himself quite a big undertaking here.
It cuts it in a certain way that if this keeps tipped up, it won't crash into it.